Hello, this is Brendan Wilmington, and welcome back to another Lumen Stock Car Invitational Amateur Series race. This is race number 2 of the season, and for the first time in series history, we are going to be going to Rockingham, North Carolina, to race at the Rockingham Speedway. The Cup Series has been going here every single season, but this is the first time that we are putting amateur cars on the track, and this very tricky 1 mile oval is definitely going to test their skills for sure. Of course, these guys ran last week at Atlanta as well. Ben Tachenko ended up taking the lead on the final lap and winning the race. And we'll see if we get another last lap pass here at Rockingham. Very different kind of racing than at Atlanta. Obviously, shorter track means a lot more tire wear, and especially since the surface is pretty old here at Rockingham, and also the high banked corners as well. So you're really going to have to take care of your equipment. It's also very hot and slick out here today, 85 degrees, which is, I believe, the warmest Rockingham race that we've run since season 1. Most of the others have been pretty cold, but we're a little bit later in the year than it typically is. It's still the second race of the year, but we started a little later this season. 28 cars once again on the grid, and we're going to go over that right now. Kaylee Maxwell in the number 66, who I believe had a pretty solid run at Atlanta, is going to start on pole, and alongside her is a fellow Ford. In fact, Fords dominate the first 2 rows. It's Duncan Ward in the number 26 driving for Seven Hills Autosport, and they're trying to get their second consecutive win in the LSCI Amateur Series. Row 2 is Kaylee Maxwell's teammate, Dawson Lynn in the 96, who's won at Phoenix before. Also a 1-mile track, but a very different 1-mile oval. And then it's the number 4 car of Annie Baker, who started up towards the front at Atlanta, but ended up falling back to last by the end of the race. Row number 3. And these are 2 drivers you do not want to be starting in the same row, because these 2 have beef. LaTanya Gray in the number 14 and the number 21 of Mauricia Vebelst. That is going to be interesting to watch for sure. Then we've got the 43 car of Walter Bowser and the 17 of Jami McJasmina, who ran the Cup Series race here last year. I believe it finished somewhere around 20th in that race. Then it's the 99 car of Alan Marshall and the 6 car of Ben Tachenko, the 2 drivers involved in last week's finish. And they're going to be starting in the same row number 5. So Tachenko is going to try and go 2 for 2 on his career. Sky and Jetta in the number 2 car, alongside the 67 car of Stephen Jones. Then we got the 59 of Richard Mackley and the 77 of Lance Holman. The 95, that's Bart Seiler, alongside the 15 of Lucas Forster, who will also be running the Cup race later this year, or at least try to make the Cup race later this week, I should say, not this year. But I believe he is the only amateur driver in that race, so he's the only one pulling double duty. Henry Wall in the number 19 Honda, starting alongside the 75 of Isabella Fitzmaurice, who dominated the Atlanta race, but had to settle for a 4th place finish. Cassidy Jones in the number 97, alongside the 72 of Bridget Brosseau. Then it's the 50 of Oscar Duval and the 71 of Rayo Wickham. The 41 car, that's Spencer Rallison, alongside Maria Gonzalez in the 00. Kasumi Takashi in the number 20, and the 44 car driven by Mercedes Washington. And rounding out the field here today is the 10 of Amani Huandayo and the 16 car of Steve Brack. It's going to be a 70-lap race. I would expect a couple of cautions, especially early on. That could definitely mix things up. So, yeah, a lot could happen here at Rockingham. We've seen, again, especially early in the race, you see cars kind of hitting the wall a lot off of turn 2 and also off of turn 4, and that kind of causes some stack ups sometimes and sometimes some accidents. So we could definitely see that, especially with the less experienced drivers. Especially since this is the first time that the amateur series has gone to Rockingham. But again, that'll make things very interesting. It should be a one-stop race, but I don't know how much that's going to play a factor, depending on if we get cautions or not. But we'll see. We'll see how this race ends up pulling. We'll see how this race ends up turning out.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the field will roll off of the backstretch here at Rockingham. No mechanical failures on the grid, so we should be able to roll fine. Once again, a 70-lap race, pretty close to the original distance of the Cup race, so this will be on the longer end of Amateur Series races. That could definitely make things more interesting, especially considering the driver's lack of experience at this track. It's going to be Maxwell and Ward starting on the front row. They will lead into the green. We are racing here at the Rock. Coming out of turn 4, end of lap 1, Kaylee Maxwell is going to lead the opening lap. And that inside lane is definitely where you want to be. Dawson Lynn second, Latanya Gray third. You can see Duncan Ward falling on that outside lane. One car got the wall a little bit. I think that was Cassidy Jones in the back, but not much contact. And that turn 2 wall has been the cause of many an accident here at Rockingham, both in real life and in the game. So you definitely got to be careful coming around that corner. It's a lot more slippery than people expect. And you just kind of wash up the racetrack. But right now you got the two 4x4 racing cars. Oh, Bart Seiler just got the wall pretty good back there. He went wide. He's going to stack up the cars behind him, but thankfully no accident. But like I was saying, we got the 4x4 racing cars, the 66 and the 96, first and second. Kaylee Maxwell almost won at Atlanta. Getting off to a pretty good start here in 2026. Latanya Gray in P3. She finished 12th last week at Atlanta. Dawson Lynn also got a top 10 at Atlanta, so a lot of the drivers that were running up front at Atlanta at least starting good here at Rockingham. Lynn tried to look underneath the 66, going through 1 and 2, but no dice there. Oh, Stephen Jones gets the wall in the back. And once again, they keep it clean. And Latanya Gray goes up the racetrack. Walter Bowser's now up to P3. Latanya will slide back to 4th. Duncan Ward will settle in 5th, and then it's side-by-side maybe for 6th. I think Marisha Vebels is going to be able to put the block on Ben Tachenko, though. And it's single file up here at the front. Sky and Jetta joins this battle. Here comes Latanya Gray and Marisha Vebels. Vebels is going to bump Duncan Ward up the racetrack. And Vebels is one of the more aggressive drivers in the amateur series, so it's not surprising to see her use the bumper there. And she's got Latanya Gray in her sights. Duncan Ward, also one of the more aggressive drivers. And for the race lead, Dawson Lynn is going to take the lead. They're 3 wide behind them. 2 of the Seven Hills Autosport cars. And Marisha Vebels. Vebels cuts off Ben Tachenko. Ends the 3 wide right there. Aggressive move, but it worked out for the 21 car. Maxwell up on the outside now. Here comes Latanya Gray to 2nd. Bowser trying to get back to 3rd. This 14 car is looking pretty good to start, but Dawson Lynn's got the lead. The Fords in general look pretty good. Latanya's in a Chevy, but there are a lot of Fords up here towards the front. See a lot of Seven Hills cars, a lot of 4x4 cars, a couple of Perez Racing cars, and also Sky and Jetta in the 2 car. It's mostly Fords up here. We've got, I think, 2 Chevrolets in this lead pack, and everybody else is in a Ford. And Dawson Lynn trying to run away with this lead in the 96. Vebels is now up to P4 as Maxwell continues to lose spots up on the outside lane. Here comes Alan Marshall, the runner-up from Atlanta. Annie Baker, Cassidy Jones. Jones got into the wall at the start of the race, but it doesn't seem to be affecting her that much. And Richard Mackley in the 59 car, running in P12 right now. Here's Fitzmaurice, who again led almost every lap at Atlanta up until the pit cycle, and then she lost the lead and never got it back. So trying to look for some redemption here at Rockingham. Still some shuffling going on here. Here comes Ben Tachenko underneath Mauricia Webelst, and he will take the 4th spot away. Tachenko has been lights out so far this season. Of course, getting that first career win in his first start. Now he's trying to back it up with a strong run here at Rockingham, one of the more tough tracks on the racetrack. Sky and Jetta is going to move into the top 5. I believe she's run here in Osco before, so she is one of the drivers that has raced here before. But not a lot of the amateur drivers have, even the ones that have been around since the start, because again, this is the first race at Rockingham for the amateur cars. And here comes Injetta, trying to take the 4th spot away from Ben Tachenko. Side by side between the fellow Fords. Tachenko is going to use the outside lane and stay ahead of the two of Injetta. You definitely want to be on the outside going down the straightaway. Oh, Webelst is going to get the wall. Annie Baker's going to get slowed up. Forrester and Fitzmaurice go underneath. That's not what you want to see if you're Webelst. Right side damage on that 21 car. That might affect her once they come into the pits. Not a ton of cars hitting the wall in this one, so that's definitely good to see, but Webelst continuing to lose spots on the outside lane there. And for the race lead, Latanya Gray underneath Dawson Lynn in turns 1 and 2. They're going to be side by side. Lynn trying to roll the outside down the back. And he's going to keep the lead as he goes into turn number 3. But Latanya Gray is still putting the pressure on that 96 car. Walter Bowser waiting in the wings as something happens between these two. We're only on lap number 15, but we have seen quite a bit of action, including up at the front. Lucas Forrester breaking into the top 10, and the number 15 gets underneath Oscar Duval. And in front of them, Sky and Jetta trying again to get past Ben Tachenko in the 6 car. Good corner there by Tachenko, and he is going to get away from the 2 car. And we missed the pass for the lead. Latanya Gray has moved into first. She gets past the 96 of Dawson Lynn. What a run, though, for Walter Bowser through 3 and 4. He's going to get underneath the 96. He's going to try and get underneath Latanya Gray. What a run for Bowser. Not sure if he's going to get underneath the 14, but he will get second at the very least. Walter Bowser, a very experienced driver. Whoa, Mauricia Webelst was in the door of Kaylee Maxwell going around the corner. Almost lost it. She is having trouble with the handling of that 21 car. Richard Mackley making up some spots. Now past the 99 of Marshall. That'll put him in P7 as he has been slowly moving through the field. Good corner by the Tanya Gray. She is going to gap the 43 car of Walter Bowser quite a bit down the backstretch. Dawson Lynn right behind, trying to get past the 43. How about Cassidy Jones up to P5, still looking for her first Amateur Series win. She's having a pretty good run here. She got into the wall early in the race, but she's recovered very impressively. So good job by the 97, and she is the highest running of the Toyotas right now. Richard Mackley going to try and gain another spot, trying to join the long list of names that have won for Appalachia Motorsports in the Amateur Series. Trying to get past Sky and Jetta in the starbound number 2. And for second, Dawson Lynn. Braked a lot in turn number 3, and that's going to hurt him off of turn 4. Bowser is going to stay in second. Check the back of the field real quick. Jami McJasmina, the 8th place starter, has gotten the wall and has struggled in this race. Running in the back, Kasumi Takashi having another pretty bad run. Lance Holman, Steve Brack, who was pretty good at Atlanta last week, having some trouble here at Rockingham. Spencer Rallison, Annie Baker once again good at qualifying, but seems to fall off once the race starts. And you can see how much the cars wobble when they go into turn one, when they're further back in the pack. And that's the kind of thing that causes accidents. If you're not anticipating that and you run into the car behind, or run into the car in front, I should say, that could definitely cause a bad situation. But no accidents so far. In fact, there has not been a single incident in the Amateur Series so far or the Cup Series. Both series have gone caution free, including the Calder Park Clash. So we have not seen a yellow flag yet in 2026, but that could definitely change at this racetrack as Walter Bowser is closing in on the 14 of Latanya Gray. Has not given up the lead ever since she got it. Dawson Lynn in third. Cassie Jones will pass Ben Tachenko for fourth. Good move by the 97. Tachenko will fall back to fifth. And Richard Mackley was making his way through the field, but he is stuck on the outside. Marshall's going to get past him. Forrester is going to get past him. And he will fall to P9. They're still battling for fourth back here. Ben Tachenko trying to get something going to get past the 97 once again. And they're still pretty close for the race lead as well. Now, I would expect pit stops, I believe, within 10 laps. They're probably going to pit about at halfway. They should be able to make it on fuel to the end. It's mainly tires that they're going to be pitting for here. Because as you can see, the tire fall off is almost 2 seconds for your two race leaders. So the tires are going to be screaming by the end of this run. But I do believe they're going to pit around halfway. Top two pulling away from Dawson Lynn in third. Caution is out. We've had a crash on the front stretch. It might have been McJasmina. Oh, Rhea Wickham. Possibly Amani Huandayo as well. That's both of the Riverbend racing cars. Yeah, I see some left side damage on the 71. The 17 already had right side damage, but she was probably in that too if she's that far back. And then Huandayo has damage on both ends of her Dex Imaging Chevrolet. So the first caution of the year occurs on lap 28 here at Rockingham, and that might mean that we'll see a second set of pit stops later in the race. I mean, if there's going to be cautions, then everybody's going to pit under the yellow and get fresh tires. That's just a given, just because of how much they wear out. We saw the almost 2 seconds of tire fall off in that 27-lap run. So everyone will be coming in for fresh tires now, and now it comes down to the pit crews. See who can get their driver out the fastest. Some of those drivers that have gotten into the wall might end up being hurt by this pit stop, although it's better than pitting under green for sure. Watching Latanya Gray, the race leader, complete her pit stop. And she will leave the pits first. Walter Bowser, Dawson Lynn, second and third. Top five remains unchanged. A little bit of shuffling around the middle of the pack. And let's check in on our damaged cars. Looks like they're all still going, so no major damage on any of them. Jami McJasmina rounding out the field here. So we'll see how much pace they'll still have. They didn't lose a lap or anything, so I imagine they might be fine. Possibly just a series of spins on the front straightaway. And we will show you what happened to that group of three. And then we will bring you back to the restart here in the Amateur Series at Rockingham. Watching the 10 of Amani Huandayo, she slips up out of the groove in turn number 4. Impacts the wall, and then Rhea Whitcomb runs into her, and then there's nowhere for Giami McJasmina to go. And the 3 red and white Chevrolets spin on the front straightaway, and they bring out the caution for the first time. And that's just one of the trouble spots. The exits of the corners here at Rockingham can be brutal, especially if you end up hitting the wall there. And unfortunately, took out the Riverbend racing cars. They were basically innocent bystanders. Wandayo made that mistake there. But thankfully, not a ton of damage on any of those three cars, so they should all be able to continue. But yeah, just a tough break for all of them. Here's a look at it at full speed. I just glanced off the wall, didn't even hit it all that hard, but it was enough to send her around and into the path of the 71 and the 17. Again, just not much the Riverbend cars could have done. And that's the mistakes that happen all the time here at Rockingham. Cars getting into the wall just by pushing it a little too much off of turn 2 or off of turn 4. Hyundai was out of the groove and just slipped up there in turn 4. Welcome back to the Amateur Series here at Rockingham, about to complete lap number 32 of 70. Under caution for a 3-car incident on the front straightaway involving both the Riverbend racing cars as well as Amani Hyundai. Latanya Gray is your current leader. Walter Bowser in second, Dawson Lynn, Cassidy Jones, Ben Tachenko round out the top 5, and then you've got Sky and Jetta, Richard Mackley, Lucas Forrester, Isabella Fitzmaurice, and the 99 car of Alan Marshall rounding out your top 10. Pace car will peel off into the pits. We are almost at halfway of this 70-lap race, and Latanya Gray will lead the field back to the green flag. Pretty organized restart there. Not many moves being made. Lucas Forrester did get past the 59 of Richard Mackley. And Mackley is slipping up on the outside lane, losing some spots. Alan Marshall and Kaylee Maxwell, the 4x4 racing duo down there, trying to get past him. Back up front, Walter Bowser is being challenged for second by Dawson Lynn. So again, the 4x4 racing cars moving up on this restart. And that could leave the door open for Cassidy Jones to try and get into the podium, but Richard Mackley, or Walter Bowser rather, will get a good run down the front stretch and can clear if he has the room to in turns 1 and 2. And he does eventually slide back down into P3, but Dawson Lynn is on the attack. He wants that race lead. He's going to try and look underneath Latanya Gray, but couldn't quite get there once they got to turn 3. Had to check up a bit, and Bowser stuck on the outside again. He's going to try and roll the top, though, trying to get into second. I don't know if that's going to work out, though. And there's a train of cars underneath him. That'll put Jones into third. Tachenko trying to go to fourth. Lucas Forrester has done an excellent job here today of trying to get through the field, but he slipped up a little bit, almost lit the 75 underneath. Bowser is getting freight trained on the outside lane. Now Dawson Lynn trying to catch back up to Latanya Gray, who's held a pretty firm lead for the last few laps. Bowser will maintain third place. Again, he has been rolling off the top really well, better than any other car, I think. So that could definitely get to his benefit. Latanya Gray trying to angle the corner there to prevent Dawson Lynn from passing her. Lynn threatened it for a little bit, but was not able to get down there. And now the 14 trying to pull away. Big move there by Cassidy Jones to try and get back into P3. These two have been trading third place back and forth since the restart. Jones might get it this time, but Bowser is staying with it on the outside lane. And once again, he is rolling that lane very well. He really likes that outside. Far clear of Cassidy Jones, but Jones is really good on the inside through 3 and 4. Doesn't quite make up the difference, though, as Jones is still unable to get past the 43, and now the 6 is underneath her with the 66 of Maxwell, who restarted in 11th. She has gained 5 spots since the restart, might gain a couple more if she follows this 6 car. Jones stuck on the outside, and she will gain another spot from that. That'll move her up to P5, so 6 spots gained since the restart for the 66 car. Saw some extra skid marks on the front stretch. Maybe Bart Seiler might have spun, but the caution did not come out. You will see what happened in the bottom left corner of the screen. Here comes Dawson Lin. Big run off the exit of turn 4. Will he set up for turn 1? He's tried to the last couple times, but LaTonya Gray has really thundered it in there in that middle lane. Has really arced the corner well, preventing Dawson Lin from making a move. Maxwell now underneath Tachenko for 4th. They almost make contact in turn 3. This 66 car is absolutely flying right now. Again, had a shot at the win at Atlanta, ended up finishing in 3rd. Running inside the top 5 once again. But Tachenko around the outside will hold on to the position. Oscar Duval is gaining some spots, and he is actually one of the drivers that has run a couple of races here at Rockingham since he spent 3 seasons in the Cup Series, so he is one of the more familiar drivers with this racetrack, so it would make sense that Duval would be doing pretty good here. He's up to P6 in that Amtrak number 50 car. I think that's the highest up he's been today, so good run so far for the 50 of Duval. Dawson Lin trying to set up another move on LaTonya Gray. Gray's looked very strong in this second half of the race. Walter Bowser trying to run a little bit higher, and who would blame him? He's had some success up there. Uh-oh, Duncan Ward into the wall, side scraped by the 00 of Maria Gonzalez. But again, they keep it together. That turn 2 wall has gotten quite a few drivers here, and now he slides up the track in 3 and 4. He's got to make sure that he doesn't hit the wall there either. But he doesn't. Yeah, Duncan Ward has been struggling. He started on the front row, but he has been dropping back ever since the start of the race. He's going to get the wall again off of turn 2, but not as severely. Further up the field, Duval now looking on the inside of the 66 car. And Ben Tachenko, and for the race lead. I was going to say Tachenko's gone up to 3rd, but we've got more pressing matters now. Dawson Lin is going to take the lead away from LaTonya Gray. Gray still stuck on the outside lane, and here comes Tachenko trying to win the opening 2 races of the season. Gonna try and make it stick on the inside lane. LaTonya hanging on the outside. These two battling side by side is exactly what Dawson Lin wants to see. As we are approaching 20 laps to go here at Rockingham. Gray will fall back to 3rd as Tachenko moves to 2nd. She might fall back to 4th as well as Walter Bowser's trying to get past her, but I think Gray might be able to clear down the front stretch. Alan Marshall has found his way up to 5th. Kaylee Maxwell dropped to 6th, but is still running pretty good. A lot of mixing up within the top 10. Mercedes Washington started near the back, found her way up to P12 by now, so good run for her. Steve Brack as well started towards the back and is now up to 14th. Make that 15th as Marisha Vebels gets past him. So salvaging some good runs out of some poor qualifying effort for both the 44 and the 16. Oh, way up the track goes Oscar Duval. Sky and Jetta going to try and get past him. And now the 4x4 cars are going to be side by side for position. That's P5. Marshall going to get the run on the outside. Maxwell and Jones right behind. Jones looked to the inside, but decided not to take it. Might have been forcing the issue there. Uh-oh, something's wrong with the 75. Fitzmaurice is slow on the inside of the track. That held up Bridget Brousseau. Let's see what it is on the 75 car. Tire down. Oh, watch out. She's coming up the track. That's going to hold up a couple more cars. And there's going to be a lot of angry drivers at Fitzmaurice from that move. But, you know, she might not have had full control of the car. So, maybe not entirely her fault. But the 75 will come into the pits as a result of that issue. So, a tough break for Fitzmaurice. Led a bunch of laps in Atlanta. Finished 4th. Was running just outside the top 10. And then that happened. Tough break for the Thunderbolt Motorsports driver. Alan Marshall has closed in on this lead battle. He is now up to 4th. He wants round 2 with Ben Tichenko, I can tell you that much. He lost that race on the final lap. He wants his second shot at it here at Rockingham. They're both pressuring the car in front of them. Alan Marshall all over the back of Latanya Gray for P3. Gray is going to block him, but she gets sent up the track a little bit. And Ben Tichenko all over the back of Dawson Lin for the lead. Lin has pulled out a little bit of a gap on him now. It was a tough rookie season for Dawson Lin. It came out to a pretty good start. He got a top 10 at Atlanta and then won the next race at Phoenix. Ooh, big wiggle there for the 6 going into turn 1. But after that win at Phoenix, though, Dawson Lin fell off the map, so he's off to another good start this season. Just got to hope that he can maintain it. And here comes the 99 of Alan Marshall, trying to stick the nose underneath Latanya Gray. But Gray will stay in P3. And those Fords are looking very strong this year. There are 6 of them in the top 7. Ben Tichenko trying to beat another 4x4 racing driver late in the race. But Dawson Lin has been holding him off pretty well. He checked up quite a bit going into turn number 1. I think that tire wear, which is almost a second and a half now, is making it more difficult to make a pass for the lead. But it's also possible that it could be opening up the possibility of more mistakes as the tires get a little harder to drive and a little slicker. So Dawson Lin's just got to make sure that he just keeps hitting his marks and does not let the 6 get under him. But the 6 is all over the back bumper. Dawson Lin is going to go defensive into turn 3, run a little lower on the backstretch. Marshall all over the back bumper of Gray for 3rd as well. Gray's been doing a good job of defending that spot. I don't know if she's quite as fast as these other Fords around her are. And she's going to go up the track here in turn 1. And now she's side by side with the 99 car. And the 6 is looking on the 96 going down the backstretch. But not enough momentum to get underneath in turn 3. As they continue to battle each other for 3rd behind them, it might just come down to these 2 if those cars keep battling each other. They could catch up if they get it sorted out, though, but Ben Tichenko's been in this position once already, and he won from here. Trying to do it twice in a row. No driver has ever opened out a season in both Cup and Amateurs with 2 consecutive wins, and Ben Tichenko might do it in his first 2 races. Here he comes to the inside of Dawson Lin in turn 1. And he will make quick work of him, and Ben Tichenko, with 10 laps to go, is in the lead once again here in the Amateur Series. And Lin is going to go up the racetrack in turns 3 and 4. That's going to let Latanya Gray and Alan Marshall get underneath. Dawson Lin losing the handling on his car. And that is going to cost him. Now, is there enough time for Latanya Gray or Alan Marshall to catch up? You know that Marshall wants to catch up. He wants round 2 with this 6 car. Except this time they're in opposite positions, but the 14 is between them. Ben Tichenko will see the gap. Last time by it was 6/10, and now it's 9/10. He is pulling away. That 14 also stuttered a little bit going into turn 1. I don't know if they're going to catch him. They're running out of laps. And he just had an incredible lap that last time. The tire wear is very... there's a lot of tire wear here, and I'm surprised that none of them have come into the pits by now. They must be trying to stretch it to the end. 2 seconds of tire fall off for the 14. Almost a second lead here for Ben Tichenko. Will we maybe see pit stops, though? I don't know if we will, because they usually pit for tires when they come into the pits, not really for fuel. Alan Marshall underneath Latanya Gray for second. And I don't know if he's going to have enough time to catch up to Chichenko. Even if he does get past Latanya Gray here in turn number 3, which he might do. Latanya tried to clear, but she was not clear. 96 of Dawson Lin going to try and go high here, but these two cars battling is really helping Ben Tichenko. Latanya is not an easy car to pass. She is really fighting for that second place. And again, this is really just helping the 6 car. Marshall finally gets past Gray here. So the same top 2 from last week are first and second once again. Except this time, I don't know if there's going to be much of a battle. Latanya with the crossover is going to try and get second back from the 99. Again, these two are just battling each other like crazy. Ben Tichenko's lead is now 1.8 seconds. Gray will get back into second, and now Marshall is stuck battling Dawson Lin. 3 laps to go for Ben Tichenko, trying to do something that no one has ever done before, and that's win the first 2 races of a season, and trying to do it in his first 2 starts in LSCI. He was a nobody entering this season, but he's going to put his name in the history books if he can just make it around 2 more times. 1.9 seconds back to Latanya Gray. I don't think she's going to catch him unless something happens to this 6 car. The tires are on ice right now, and they continue to battle for second behind Dawson Lin. Oh man, Lin really missed the corner, got down on the apron. Is he coming in and pitting? He is pitting. Oh, the 6 is coming as well! Oh no, they couldn't make it! One lap to go. Latanya Gray is now the leader, and Alan Marshall now sees an opportunity. Ben Tichenko will not win the first 2 races. Here comes Marshall to the inside of Latanya Gray, but he doesn't have the grip on the inside lane. He's going to try and get a run out of turn 4. The caution is out, but Latanya Gray is going to come across the start-finish line. Things went to complete chaos at the end, and Latanya Gray is going to be the benefactor. Can you believe that? Smoke pouring out of the 10 of Amani Huandayo. She has crashed on the final lap to bring out the yellow. But Latanya Gray, it looks like Bart Seiler was also in it. Latanya Gray gets her second win of her Amateur Series career. It looked like it was a foregone conclusion that Ben Tichenko was about to win that race. And instead, he was the one that had the loss on the final lap, as he ran out of gas and had to come and pit for fuel. Unbelievable. Another dramatic finish here in the Amateur Series. Alan Marshall finishes second again. But honestly, that's better than where he was running, so maybe he'll feel a little bit better about that one. But Latanya Gray gets the win for All-Star Speed Team, and a race that was dominated by Ford will end up getting won by a Chevy. Almost the inverse of what happened at Atlanta. Oh my goodness, what a dramatic end to the race. And we will show you what happened to Amani Huandayo in a replay. So the caution that happened at the end of the race on the final lap was caused by Isabella Fitzmaurice, as she just absolutely takes out the 95 of Bart Seiler. Keep in mind, Fitzmaurice is on newer tires than everyone else due to having to change them under green, and Seiler stops right in the middle of the racing line. That is not something that you want to do, and Amani Huandayo just runs right into the back of him. And Huandayo was already in an incident earlier in the race, so things just getting worse for her. And, Seiler was just an innocent victim there. Fitzmaurice just driving it too aggressively. I understand that she had the fresher tires, but like you can't be taking cars out in turn one. And that caution didn't end up affecting what happened in the race, but it did tear up a couple of race cars, and Amani Huandayo absolutely destroyed. Just not a good start to the season for the 10 car for sure. She was one of the better drivers last year. Almost made the championship without a win, but she's got an uphill battle to climb this season. But wow. Oh my goodness, what a crazy, crazy race here at Rockingham. Here are your race results. Latanya Gray wins. Alan Marshall, less than a tenth of a second back. Tried to make the pass on the last lap, but didn't quite do it. Kaylee Maxwell finishes third again. So 4x4 Racing for the second race in a row finishes second and third, but not first. Walter Bowser, Sky and Jetta, Cassidy Jones, Lucas Forrester, Oscar Duvall, Steve Brack, and Mercedes Washington round out the top 10. Good run for Kasumi Takashi. She's had a lot of struggles in the amateur series. P11 is a pretty good run for that 20 car. And there you see 16 cars finishing on the lead lap. Ben Tachenko, 16th place. What a heartbreaker for him. He was about to make history, but he just did not have the fuel at the end. And I remember I commented when that caution came out, I'm pretty sure that they're going to have to make another pit stop. I didn't know. I completely forgot that they had to, but I mean, some of them had to, but others were able to stretch it to the end. But wow, what a dramatic ending of the race. Ben Tachenko, again, looked like he had that locked up. He had a 2-second lead, but it just slipped away. And Latanya Gray gets the benefit of it. And I mean, she was running up front. She led a lot of laps, so she definitely deserved that win. But oh my goodness, what a dramatic ending to this one. Latanya Gray gets the win here at Rockingham. And that was a dramatic ending of the race for sure. Well, that's going to do it for today's broadcast. Look out for the Cup Series coming in a few days as well. And if this amateur race is anything to go off of, the Cup race should be very exciting. So I'm really looking forward to that now after seeing what we saw today. One more congratulations to Latanya Gray and All-Star Speed Team on the win. And that's going to do it for the race here today. I am Brennan Wilmington, signing off.